Right. So far, in the previous session, we observed how we can use JPA repository using Spring Boot application. Okay. So JPA repository is there, which is the interface. The JPA repository's sub-interface we are defining. That sub-interface allows us to define, perform all our CRUD operations. This JPA repository sub-interface. Why do we define the sub-interface? This is to mention the type of entity and the type of the primary key field. These two things we are mentioning as type parameters of JPA repository while we are creating our entity repository. Suppose you have 10 entities, so 10 repositories you have to create. 10 entities you have 10 repositories. So defaultly it have all CRUD operations. After a while I'll show you even if few custom operations, custom queries we want to perform. How do we do it? That also we'll check after a while, not right now. We'll see that. Now we will convert this application into layered architecture. Okay, CRUD mean DAO predefined. We need not to do anything for DAO. Okay, we need to write the service layer. The service layer is going to call the DAO operations. Here onwards we don't call DAO, repo operations, repository operations. Okay, right. So we need to define a service layer here. The service layer is going to perform, invoke the repository operations. Further, that service class we are going to access from the application. That is actually the pattern of creating the layers. Okay, right. Now this is repository. Now let's go and clean the main class, because in the main I'm not going to touch any repository. I'll call the business service layer, service classes. Okay, so I'm removing everything from here and let's define a service class. So instead of model, that is service package. What is the entity name here? Person, right? So person service. Person service. Now what all operations person service is going to allow us to perform? Find by ID, find all, save, insert, delete, these operations. Okay. So first one, find all persons. Find person by ID. Save person. Edit person. Delete person. These are the operations. In order to perform these all operations, we need one repository object, right? So what is that repository? Person repository. Person repo. Person repo. So are you going to give this person repo object here into this class, service class, or you want Spring to inject? Spring to inject. Okay. So in that case, what we have to do, we need to generate one setter method for this. So how do you generate? So getter method not required, only setter method sufficient. So go to generate getter setters. Here drop down, choose setter method, generate, finish. Above the setter method, you need to write the auto wired. Now auto wired you can write above the member variable like this. You can write, but it is very anti-practice. It is what? Anti-practice. It is against to secure coding best practices. Three places you can auto-wire. One is private field auto-wire, constructor auto-wire, setter auto-wire. Means auto-wired annotation you can write the above the private field, which I have already shown and removed because it is against to secure coding best practices. Suppose you have any Jenkins kind of not Jenkins, that is Sonar, static code analysis tool. It is static code analysis tool. So such kind of static code analysis tools are there. Then it will not allow you to publish or push that code into repositories. So there Jenkins pipeline will be there. That pipeline will check that pipeline, you need to configure step by step. So here in your IDE, this one, static code analysis tools were configured. Based on the result of the static code analysis, then Jenkins will allow to the next step, next phase. So these things, once you enter into production floor with the help of DevOps implementations, you will get to know. But remember one thing, auto void above this member variable is anti-practice. Either you can define, you can write auto void above the parameterized constructor. That is, you can define a constructor. So you can define a constructor. Above the constructor, you can write @auto void. Means Spring framework will call the person service constructor by passing an instance of this person repo. This is allowed. This is good. And the other one, sometime back I have removed. Even that is also good. What is that? Setter injection. Auto void by setter injection. Right. Now you have repo object in your hand. So go into find all person. You call the repo appropriate method to retrieve all persons and then return. Okay, right. Step by step we'll go ahead. Now public list of all persons, java.util. List of all persons. So how would I get the list of persons? First, list of persons equals to repo object. You have person repo dot find all. You got list of persons, then return persons. Why it is showing error? Maybe no import statement related to the person has not generated. So I pressed Ctrl Shift O to generate import. Okay, these two lines not really necessary. What you are doing in the first line, you are taking the list into a local variable. That local variable you are returning in the next line. So you can directly do this. Both are perfectly alright. Right? Now.
Returning, don't we have to change the
data type? Not required, because it is returning list of persons. So you need not to typecast. Right here, public single person comes, right? Person by ID. Whenever you execute a select query with where clause on the primary key field, what will happen? How many persons records you can retrieve? One only. If you filter by primary key, you get only one single record. So that return type is single person. This is fine. Now here, person repo dot find by ID.
We are using
ID.
JPA, right?
Huh?
We are using JPA.
It can be JPA repo or CRUD repo, your wish. So here, what is the return type of this find by ID? It is not a person object, but it is optional object. What is that? Optional object. It is not person object. Optional object which wrapped over the person object. So why Spring JPA manufacturer has made this decision here? If there is no person object existing, it will return null, the one which we saw in Hibernate. It returns null. So if you are performing any other action in the application based on the null object, it throws null pointer exception. To prevent that, here in Spring, they optimized the code. Instead of sending a person object as it is, the person object they are wrapping in optional object and returning. Now it will never be a null. Always it is not null. But now, to make the business smooth, what we are doing, we are returning person object here. So from the optional object, we need to fetch the person and then we should return it. Okay. So here, what we are getting here, optional. It is Java 8 implemented thing, optional. Okay. Optional.
So you can directly use dot get.
Yeah. Optional of person. Yeah, directly get you can use. In that case, what you can do, person p equals to not even dot get, dot or else. This is preventing having null. If if the optional object have any person object, that person object is to be returned. Otherwise, new person empty object, instead of null, new person object is to be returned. But this is not even very good approach as my practice. Okay, so what am I doing here? I'll create one optional of person, OPT person. Okay, right. Now, if OPT person dot is empty, I'll do something here. Otherwise, return person repo, OPT person optional object dot get. As the result of dot get, what am I getting? A person object and then returning. You notice here, what exactly am I doing? If the person object is empty, I am doing something else here instead of returning the object. Otherwise, I am returning the object that is embedded within the optional object. Then what exactly I have to do in the 26th line here? I should throw an exception. What I should throw? An exception. What exception is it? Business specific exception. I told this word couple of times earlier during Hibernate discussion also. Business specific exception, not like java.lang.null pointer exception, java.sql.sql exception, kind of system defined, system internal exceptions. Okay, what you are supposed to throw here? A custom exception. How you can define custom exception? That also we discussed by defining subclass of java.lang.exception. Okay, that I will do here. New class. What is the package name? com.rebel.exception. And what is the class name? Invalid employee ID exception. Person. Okay. Invalid person ID exception. So subclass of what is the superclass? Java.lang.exception. That's all. Okay, here what to do? Let us define constructors from the superclass. Constructors from superclass, which all constructors except this boolean, remaining all constructors. That is fine enough. Then we can close this. I am quickly going because already we discussed this earlier. Custom exceptions topic we discussed earlier, so that I am going little quickly. Right, here what to do? Throw that exception from here. New invalid person ID exception with some string message. Person ID not found. What is the person ID? This exception I am creating here and then throw. So I am throwing exception, but I am not catching here. So what I have to do? I have to mention throws clause here. Throws. What exception is to be thrown? Invalid person ID exception. Whenever someone is calling this method from the application or other layer, they have to write the appropriate try catches to catch this exception. Okay, so this practice you have to follow for update as well as delete, because search operation is going to happen during update and delete. Find all, no search operation. Save, even don't have any search operation, right? So save a person, right? Public. Earlier when we discussed these CRUD operations with Hibernate, here we returned true false boolean. Later on we upgraded, enhanced our code to return the saved object, person with ID. The argument object don't have ID, whereas the returning object, saved object will have ID. That we are returning, we are going to return from here. So, person, and here, person, what you want to save, that is without ID. Am I clear? Right. Here this is very almost straightforward operation. So here we need not to do any big complex logic here. What? Person repo dot save. See here, what is the argument to save method? Yes. What is the return type? Again yes. Means what you are passing as argument, the same class object will be returned. But the argument don't have ID, the return object will have ID. That's all. That is the only difference. So here person object is to be passed. So I am getting one person object as written. That person object I should return from here. Very clean. Then trick comes here. What? Edit. Actually we don't have any edit operation defined in the repository. We don't have any edit nor update. What we have? Only save. What we have? Only save. Listen here carefully. While you are saving, while you are calling the repo.save method and passing an object here as argument. See, where is that save method? See, save method passing an argument. If this person don't have ID, listen carefully. If this person object don't have ID, which person? The argument object of this save person don't have ID, it will create, it will insert. If it have ID, then it will try to find if that employee is there, if so modify, otherwise throw error. Otherwise it throws error. So here save method only we have to call. Even from the update we have to call only the save method. But save method job, what is the save method job? Did you remember? It is trying to insert. But our requirement is not to insert. Only update. Only update. If ID found, update. Otherwise it is inserting. No. Don't insert. Return. Throw exception. Okay. So that we do. So how we can do it? From edit operation, right? This is that operation. So public. Here also. Upon successful saving, it is the best practice to return the saved object. Means argument you are going to return as it is. Person. Now you need to call the find method. Just try to recollect find by ID. What is the job of find by ID? If it is trying to find. If found, control is going to next line. If not found, throwing exception. Find by ID. It is finding. Upon successful finding, it is returning and control should go next line. If not able to find, throw exception. That find method will call from here. Find by ID. Find person by ID. Where is the ID I have? Person argument object. Argument of this method. Dot get ID. Now, if any person existing in the database table with the given ID, control should come to the 36th line. That is the current line. If person is not there, throw exception. Control will not go to the 36th line to save. See, person repo dot save person. So this line will be executed only when the person, the previous line, 35th line has not thrown exception. If the 35th line has thrown exception, control will not come to 36th line. So 36th line means save method return. Now what is the error here? This method find by ID, find person by ID, throwing exception, right? That exception we are not catching here. So that we have to declare throws here. That we keep the mouse pointer here, you will get to know. You do as per the suggestion. Surround. No. I don't want to try catch. Throws declaration. Got it. Okay. Exactly the similar way edit also will work. Delete also will work. But Delete operation behavior is something else. It will take the ID of the person you want to delete. Upon successful deletion, which object it has deleted, that deleted object it will return. Why I am telling this way? Why do we need to do this? Not for a simple CRUD operation with the Spring Data JPA. Our target is, next step we should go to web services. If I did not teach, if I did not explain the logic here, I have to explain there in web service. Web services have some standards. So by the time of I am discussing the web services standards, I have to explain, redesign all these APIs, these methods. Instead of that, I am teaching here itself. Okay? So, right, delete. What is this delete? Public, that is anyways public. Upon successful deletion, what will it do? Deleted object it will return. Yeah, that is person. Then what will it take? Int ID, that is a primary key field. Now, again this is the same thing. Find a person by the ID, not get ID. Yeah, ID directly you have. Now it should be returned, right? We are thinking to return the deleted object. So that the find by ID method, whatever it is returning, to take into a local variable. Person P. Okay, then return P. In the middle, you delete it. How do you delete? Person repo dot delete. Did you notice here person repo delete method is not returning anything? Here you observe void it is returning. Yeah. It is not returning anything. Naturally it will not return anything, but functionally we are achieving that. So delete by ID. Delete by ID. Yeah, delete by ID also not returning anything. Did you notice this last one? Oh. Delete by ID. It is not returning anything. Void. Okay? ID. Then what is the error in 39th line, this line?
So,
Exception. That we need to declare with throws. Done it is. All service method completed. Service class completed. Now we need to get this service class into the main application or the next layer. If I created this service class, person service equals to new person service of. Now person service dot save a person, new person of Ram at sys out, saved successfully. It will fail. The reason is the service you are creating of your own. When you instantiate the object of your own, when you instantiate any class of your own, the dependencies will not be injected by Spring. So service also you have to ask the Spring framework. Hey Spring, please give me an instance of service. So this constructor invocation is dangerous. Constructor, otherwise without constructor, back in school days whenever we learn Java, how you get an object? By calling the constructor only. But once we entered into Spring, what we are telling? Constructor invocation is dangerous. You don't call the constructor, you ask the Spring container. Hey Spring container, get me an object of this. But where did you mention Spring? Hey Spring, please create an instance of person service. See, go to the person service. We did not mention anything. So we need to give some annotation here. At the rate component is there. Whatever annotation, whatever class you have annotated with component will be instantiated by Spring. But its sub interfaces are there. Sub annotations. Annotations means they are interfaces. Its sub interface is there. That is service. So better you use service. At the rate service. Because it is not going to carry any data. It is only operation. So that we are giving service annotation. So service is also same functionality, same behavior as component. service, repo, component. These are all three. Three are same. Alright. Now, again, don't call the constructor, we discussed, right? So, what to do? Context dot get bean of person service dot class. Finished. Okay, let us execute this. Wow, executed successfully. What is the ID here? Oh, that ID I didn't display. No, will do. Person P1 successfully plus P1. P1 dot toString will be called. Yeah, ID is 1. Did you notice here? ID is 1. Now, this time I will try to find a person. Person P1 equals to person service dot find person by ID 1 sysout P1. But before executing, make sure create to update HBM to DDL auto, create to update. Otherwise, table will be dropped. There is no employee, no person with that ID. Shall go out. Hey, what is the error here? Throwing exception, right? Here we are supposed to use the try catch blocks. Yeah, try catch because it is the main. This is the topmost layer. So here from main method you are not supposed to throw anything. Here you have to catch it. Okay, right. Now, system is good enough to make the try catches but not optimize the code. Okay, no problem. We'll optimize. The person is Ram. Now I will give some person ID which is not existing. Now what will happen? What exception? Invalid. com.rebel.exception dot invalid person ID exception. Person ID not found with 101. Where? In this line. Person service.java 29th line. This is line. That exception has not been caught there, so that it's been moved to this line. This line means from where you are calling the find a person by ID to that line, the exception has been transferred. There it has been caught. So this is the way. Right, update also. Update, delete, you try. Okay, right. So